Hello everyone, my name is Shelly Power and I am the Executive Director of Philadelphia Ballet. Welcome to Preludes. Today we're going to explore and discuss Cinderella, set to the music of Sergei Prokofiev. So welcome. I'd like to introduce Angel Corella, our Artistic Director.
Hello, Shelly.
Jay Krush, Dawn Scannell, and Russell Ducker. Welcome. So today, our first question I'd love to hear, because I love first experiences. What was your first experience with Ben Stevenson's Cinderella?
My first experience was when I was dancing with American Ballet Theater, and he came, the company had done it before, but it was my first time doing it. So my first role that I danced, it was the Chester. I remember the experience of working with Ben. He got into the room, it was the whole second act, the ballroom scene, and just by the movements of his face when he was telling how to express every movement and how to work with the stepsisters, it was hysterical. So my first experience already from the first hour, it was just laughter after laughter. So yeah, it was very clear to me that it was one of the greatest Cinderellas.
And a lot of fun to perform
a lot of
and
fun,
learn.
yeah.
Jay, what about you, being in the ballet orchestra? What was your experience?
Our first exposure to these things is usually in rehearsal. So we don't have it associated with the dance immediately, but we had done Romeo and Juliet a number of times, which is also by Prokofiev. And we were just looking forward to it because anytime you get something by Prokofiev on the stand, you know it's going to be great.
Wonderful. Dawn Scannell.
My first experience with this ballet, and Ben was at Houston Ballet, and I was young. I hadn't done a full length yet. It was one of the first that I learned. And I agree with Angel because his emotion in the studio, watching him do all of the different roles, I just thought, holy moly, I'm in for it. We knew that there was going to be a lot to learn. He was able to do the stepsisters and a fairy and the prince at the same time. So
A lot of different characters. Russell.
Yeah, this is my second time dancing this production. The first time, I think it was 7 years ago now. And I was obviously a lot more of a green dancer, so it's really exciting to revisit these roles and get to do some new ones as well, which is exciting. Yeah.
Well, I think all of you, aside from Jay, I don't know if you ever met Ben Stevenson, have stories about Ben and the way he presents his ballets. He's rather theatrical, and Russell, I think you'll appreciate being British. He has a sense of British humor.
Very much so. Yeah, his humor is quite dry, I would say, but brilliant. Like every slight nuance in his choreography, it comes through. I think that it's been really, and I get the opportunity to play a stepsister, and the comedic elements in that is just so fantastic.
So Dawn, you've come to Philadelphia to set Ben Stevenson's Cinderella, and you're having to bring all of that knowledge and humor and timing, as Angel just spoke about. Maybe you can share how you're getting that across to the dancers in the rehearsal room.
That's the best part of staging this ballet. Rehearsing with Ben, as Angel knows, he demonstrates everything. He's always demonstrated every single role. And you would never go on stage without being someone, being that character fully, knowing what they are before they get to the stage, knowing the progression, knowing how they feel even before they step on the stage. And he demanded that. He demanded that character development. So in coming and staging his ballets, I have those years in I can hear him in my head. And I'm sure you all can, you hear your teachers and your coaches in your head. And so, for instance, when Russell started doing the stepsister, I just took one look at him and I thought, holy smokes, this is perfect. This is perfect. He gets it. He understands that humor. And I have to recreate what Ben created for us. And it's the understanding of creating all those characters. Some dancers are very visual. Some dancers are intellectual, and you have to tap into who learns in what way. And that helps the process a lot. And each person needs a little bit of that in a different way. So, and it's been great.
Russell, so maybe you can talk a little bit more about your costume, your role, and I'd love to hear how you're preparing for this role compared to any other role you might have danced before. Is it different?
Definitely is different. I think that I've had the opportunity to dance quite a few like character-driven roles in the past, but I think this one is just so, I don't know, being the antagonist in a comedic way is quite a heavy duty. Like there's a lot of responsibility that goes along with that, because if people don't have empathy for Cinderella, then the whole story is kind of lost. There's no reason for us to care about what happens. So I think that, but with also not coming across too mean, where people can't enjoy the comedy. So it's that treading that fine line of bringing something to the role that is both light and at the same time has that kind of like dark aspect to it. So I'm looking forward to that. The costumes are ridiculous. They're completely over the top, and I cannot wait to put them on. Honestly, I think it will really help to bring the character to life even more, because I just started wearing the heels the other day, and I mean, I'm not used to walking in heels, let alone dancing in them, so it's going to be a challenge for sure. But I hope that struggle might even help with the character, you know, to bring that awkwardness. We'll see. I'm really looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Well, this ballet is at least 25 years old, if not 30.
More.
He choreographed
more like
this
50 in the mid-70s.
And Prokofiev, of course, is classic. So Jay, you know, having a ballet that is timeless, such as Cinderella, and having this music that is timeless, talk a little bit about that and how your appreciation of music, just as you're hearing the appreciation of Ben Stevenson's choreography that is timeless, how that kind of carries through with the inspiration you might have to play for this ballet.
Well, as I said, we always look forward to playing Prokofiev. He was one of the great orchestrators of all time. And among other things, he uses the extremes of the orchestra, the very lows and the very highs, more than anybody else does. And all of these wonderful colors in between. He also has an amazing ability to get, again, inside the characters, like you were talking about in the choreography, where you really feel like you know this character just on the basis of what's happening in the music. He was very perceptive. He wrote this, interestingly, during World War II. He wrote this glittering fairy tale fantasy in the middle of this appalling time in history. And it just, every time you hear it, there's so much going on that you learn more and more each time. It's not like you've played it once and there it is. You can play it many times over the years, and every time you hear more.
Oh, I love that. And that gives the audience something, because I know with different casts, you have different roles, different people playing Cinderella, and they're going to have a little different approach to it. That's why I love when you go to the ballet 2 or 3 times in a row, because you get to see all of the dancers dancing different roles. I'm sure you did that yourself, Angel.
Yeah, I used to, I mean, even as a dancer, I used to go and see other dancers doing the same role, because you see the different perspective. It's the same steps, it's the same story, but every dancer has their own point of view. And you know, maybe a Cinderella wants to play it a little bit more like, you know, like she's the victim. Maybe there's another Cinderella that is the victim, but at the same time she has a strong soul and a strong will, and she's still like, you know, still all of that is happening to her, but she's standing her ground. So I think it's great to see different cast. It can change the ballet completely.
Well, thank you. I'm so excited to see Cinderella again and again and again, because I know I'll get something different out of it every time. Angel, Jay, Dawn, Russell, thank you so much for sharing your experiences of working with this great score and with this wonderful ballet. I hope we make Ben Stevenson proud. And thank you all for joining us for Preludes. This is Philadelphia Ballet. We thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you in the theater.